The visual artists all know that art has a frame, right? That when you go to the museum, there's a frame around your art, right? It doesn't always look like that. But there's always a frame. Even when there's not a frame, there's a frame. What do I mean by that? If you decide that if you go into a gallery and there are no frames, are there still frames there? How?
The physical gallery.
Beautiful. The physical gallery is a frame. What else? Think about it. Yes?
The lack of a frame is a frame.
The lack of a frame is a frame, absolutely. Tell me how.
Well, if an artwork is unframed, it's making a statement just as much as an artwork that does have a frame.
Because we expect a frame. So if you don't put a frame, it's like, wait, there's no frame. What does he mean by that, right? There's something going on. The same thing if I walk out to my concert at 8 o'clock at night for my piano recital, and I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt, you're all going to say, wait, he's wearing shorts and a t-shirt. He's not wearing a tuxedo, right? Because the tuxedo was expected, right? So when something is expected, even if you don't do it, it's still a part, it's still in the room with you, right? So there's always a frame in art. People expect a whole set of conventions to happen. Are you going to talk to the audience? You don't talk to the audience. Is it well lit? Is it not well lit? Does it last for an hour, a week, a month? Right? What are the things that go on in there? Am I supposed to talk? Do I not talk? When you go to a museum or a gallery, do you talk loudly? Why not? The art doesn't talk. It's not a concert. Why do you have to be quiet in front of a painting? Right? That's a convention. That's part of the frame that, like you said, the building. When you go to a museum or you go to a gallery, there's stuff that happens, right? So I like to think of this as this aesthetic triangle, right? So that most of you, because you're students, you only think about this piece. You think about the attraction. What is it they're going to see? What's inside the frame? What is the content? How many pieces am I going to do? Am I playing Beethoven? How many works do I produce, right? But the second you graduate, you're in charge of the whole thing. Right now, somebody over in marketing is doing that, and somebody over in the faculty is doing that, okay? But when you're, as an artist, when you graduate, you're actually in charge of the whole thing, because your aim here is to get people to pay for your art. All right? Ultimately, people have to value what you do in order to pay for it in some way or the other. So like I said last week, you're the head of marketing, you're the head of legal, you're the head of payroll, you're the CEO, you're the head of sales, right? You're going to have to do all of those different jobs, right? That's kind of the business part of this. What I want you to think about today is that part of being an artist is being concerned about the experience that your audience has. That it's not enough to say, there's my painting, this is my artwork, love it, right? That what you're wearing when you come out, what the lighting is like, whether people are seating, are you feeding them, is it dark, are they talking, that determines their experience. You'll learn a statistic in a couple of weeks when we talk about the business of art, that 80% of the audience of people who come to see art for the first time don't come back. We have 80% churn. 1 in 5 people will return. So maybe we're not as good as we think we are. Right? I mean, we think, oh my God, this is so great. Everybody's going to want to see this again and pay for it. Right? Wrong. Right? So at the moment, we have 20% return in our audiences. So if you want to make a living doing this, you've got to increase that number. Right? Now, the things that matter, number 1 on the list, you're going to love it, parking. Right? If it's a pain in the ass to park, or the ticket prices are too high, the air conditioning's not working, it doesn't matter how good your dance is. People had a lousy time, they're not coming back, right? But as an artist, you can't just say, oh, that's somebody else's job, right? Because it's your bill. So I like to think about these 3 things. We'll talk about this throughout the semester, but the audience, who they are, right? Know your audience. Are they old people? Is it 12-year-olds? Is it a mixed audience? Do they know what the conventions are? Have they been to lots of other galleries, lots of other artwork, lots of dance? Do they know what a dance concert? Do they know not to applaud between movements? Who are they? Right? Then, what do you want them to be like? Do you want them to applaud between movements? Do you want them to sit on their hands, right? And then what is it that you're doing? And it's this combination of things that creates the experience. But because ultimately for most people, it's not, I went to see Beethoven. Beethoven is good for you. I liked it, right? No, it's I went to see a concert. I had this experience. It moved me. I felt something. I went to a show. It was good, right? They don't ultimately care if it's Beethoven or it's anybody, right? So part of your job is to put all these pieces together, to think about your role as creating experiences for your audience that are valuable, that they will pay for. Does that make sense? So part of, as we think about this, I want you to think about your skill set, because most of us only have a skill set in one place, right? We only think about the one piece of this. So one of the alums you can't meet this year, just because the timing didn't work out, is Alicia Lawyer. She's a music graduate. She got a degree in oboe from SMU, then she went to Juilliard, then she played in a number of orchestras. And then she decided that she was playing in lots of different orchestras and she was moving around, and she wanted to live in one place, because as you may know, the orchestra musicians in the room, that you can get into the Phoenix Symphony, but that's only 10 weeks a year. So then you're going to be in the Nashville Symphony too. You've got to actually fly back and forth, and so their schedules are arranged so that you can do these overlapping things, but you're transient, right? So she set up something called the River Oaks Chamber Orchestra in Houston, which has won lots and lots of national awards. Partly because she thought about the way people wanted to experience classical music, right? That's kind of a hard sell for a lot of us, right? So 6 o'clock on a Saturday night. Why 8 o'clock? She said, let's move the concert up to 6, sometimes 5:30. Let's include childcare. They use a building that has a balcony. They don't rent out the balcony. I mean, they don't sell tickets in the balcony, because for one piece, all the kids in the childcare come into the balcony and they get to experience one movement. So they're not there for the whole, it's not a children's concert, they're not there all night long, they're too young, they're going to make too much noise. But for 5 minutes, the kids are up there watching the music and the parents wave, right? Then the kids go back to the child care. The child care is focused on the piece of music the kids are going to hear. So that as a parent, you're saying, I am buying an evening of entertainment. I'm also buying an educational experience for my kid. My kid's going to learn a little bit about Mozart. They're going to color a picture of Mozart. Then they're going to actually come out and actually see Mozart, right? See the thing. Then they go back. And then, the best part of all, childcare lasts until 10. So you can go out for dinner afterwards, and it's part of the ticket. So for one ticket price, parking, childcare, the whole thing is taken care of. It's been a smash hit because people are able to have an experience, so they like the Mozart better because they know their kids are also getting a little bit, and their kids are being taken care of, and they're going to have dinner and get to relax for the evening, right? That's what we call a business plan, right? That's a plan for how I present my art and get people to pay me for the art that I love to do.